So, when you meet a 5D mystic, it's a person who will have already learned to be their differentiated 3-year-old self. That's why we stay spontaneous. We don't lose the burning heart of life. That's Purusha Prakriti. And we actually don't realize, I know I didn't realize until I learned all about trauma-informed stuff, just how many people don't know the vitality of their own body. And I still understand why they keep skipping out on it, because, when you do spirituality bypass, you're not going to really understand how your nervous system and brain works. And on that note, for the 5D mystic plane, it's really fun to have clairs, oversouls. So when we're going through our light body expansion, there's not the whole ego death or dark night of the soul. Like, I've heard of them. I remember starting to understand the whole roller coaster, but I'm like, but it's not really a roller coaster. I don't understand these memes. They're really making it into a saga. It's almost like watching soap operas, but it's not true, since I'm experiencing expansion and ascension. And I'm like, what the hell? Okay, so 5D mystics, we are, how can I break it down? We're a fire that doesn't ever go off. And if you're not here yet, then let me explain. If you don't know how to harness your emotional body, then you are missing out on life as a person. Some people, they need good therapy for that, because their emotional body has been cut off because of not having secure attachment. And that's where a lot of different ways that we could look at it, we're not going to, because as I said, the mystics that I'm talking to right now, we are always on fire. So when we meet people that are not always on fire, we will notice it. That means we'll notice their sense of self not being there. We'll also notice how their nervous system and they are navigating it. But again, it's now that I know what I've been witnessing my entire life, which is pretty much projection from people that don't take their charged states or their trauma or any of their attachment insecurities seriously, and then go and get a handle on their own burning fire. So what's sad is to see a lot of dysregulated, modulated people. But then again, it's not sad, since they apparently think they're knowing what life is all about. So when they're interacting with people, they project. And on that note, a 5D mystic will not be bothered with going into another person's business. They're a state of consciousness. You're a state of consciousness. That's the whole point. Okay, so let me stay tangible, shall I? When you use your left and right mode of the brain, and therefore emotions come up, they're not a roller coaster. You're not like, oh my gosh, I'm dying inside because of the stars today. No, it's okay. The stars are out today. The moon is out today. This is out today. So the relationship to Claire is very different. And I'm thinking of some channeled guidance that came out for tomorrow's episodes on relationships. We don't use people's time in a way to not build. And we don't appreciate when we do encounter people that don't want to build, but it's because we are invested in ourselves and in using direct communication. Because we use direct communication, we don't filter, because we're not here to filter ourselves from building relationships with people. If I'm a fire and you say you're a fire, and you don't know how to maintain a linear path, well, then I'm going to say you're not a fire. You think you're a fire. You don't know what fire means. And so here's where 5D mystic or functional adult, basically a secure attachment person, recognizes what in and out behavior is and what really those who say they're fire, but they're not, are. And it's how to respectfully understand how to distance oneself and or create a recalibration. Now, I'm trying to think of how to be nice about all of this stuff, because there's a lot of people that I've met throughout the years who have made a lot of very bold statements. And every time they've made these bold statements, it's funny, because you are a person, if you're 5D mystic, okay, every person has the potential to become whatever it is they say they want to become. So when you see people that are grown-ups not actually commit or recognize that they're speaking with misalignment, you look to turn away. The sooner the better, so that you don't look at them in a way that says, I thought you said you were all fire. I don't see the fire. I don't see the persistence. I don't see any of it. I don't see that you know what you're talking about when it comes to being a person who loves. When we see the movies, this is where it's understandable because they perpetuate misaligned individuals as people who have fire, which they don't. I mean, one of my favorite songs, I'm watching this clip, I'm like, wow, okay, yeah, that's totally not fire. Meaning the passion. Passion, you can know passion if you know your secure attachment. If you know how to handle your ventral vagal. If you know how to harness the depths of emotions. Okay, so here's the part for my mystics, because this was what we were talking about, is about every year you get to have an expansion opportunity. A 5D person will expand because they don't say no to their emotions. And they don't say no to love. And they don't say no to choice points. They don't say no to challenge. Relationships are a challenge for any person because it's the number one thing that you're going to do. What is it? Anyone remember when they were a teenager? And I know, I remember. So we're going to take a shot, right? No, most people don't. They don't actually take a shot because they're too busy playing a game that they call a game, and that they're like, I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to keep 80% for me and 20 for you. It's like, what are you doing? That might as well not enter into a relationship. You're not living it. You're going to protect yourself. Yeah, the next shoe is going to drop tomorrow probably, and really you're not learning how to harness your own human being brain or your own human being life. Okay, so 5D mystic, don't waste no time doing stuff like that. There's no saga, there's no perfect timing. You're either in or out. It's going to be straightforward because if you're in, then we're going to be a fire. And if you're out, you're going to be out probably the next day, next month, a week. We're not going to wait around for you, because why would somebody wait around for a person who doesn't know how to keep their word or doesn't know how to keep straight lines or doesn't know a lot of things? Oh, secure attachment people will understand that is a person who has attachment wounds, potentially unresolved trauma, potentially a lot of things. What they really do not have is the ability to know how to use their mouth to speak about their emotions. So automatically we're not intimate. There's no fire. You can't be a fire if you don't know how to harness any of your emotions. You can look good in your fight flight. Fight flight, I learned about this word that another person uses. It's a lever. Yes. People who are in their hypervigilant, unfortunately, don't know consistency because they haven't learned it within themselves. Intimacy is here, first of all. And so what you would learn, and a lot of people like to think of themselves as quote unquote badasses. And this is all genders. And I'm talking about relationships. And I'm solo poly. Yes, polysecure, by the way, because polyamory alone means that you don't know how to be necessarily in your secure attachment. When instead you do, it's direct communication. I know what I want. I know what I'm doing in 24 hours. And if you don't, that's good. But I'm going to keep moving forward because that's how time works. 24 hours in flow, 5D mystics. Not hard to figure out because we have a secure attachment body. And that's where we love and respect people. And the minute that you are not actually able to burn is the minute that I'm not going to be like, oh, you can't burn. That's actually kind of rude and unkind and also insensitive, because I didn't grow up in your body. And I'm happy to know about trauma-informed stuff, which I share with the listeners so that they can be compassionate and understand it's not about a devil or demon or evil or temptation or all of that. No, we got people who have shame cycles called inner critic, outer critic. They deny their emotions because they're too overwhelming with drugs, alcohol, sex, food, misalignment. They go watch movies that make it look cool. Maybe that's their solace. And you know how painful it is for people to get out of hell? The therapists have to negotiate with people to keep them in therapy. That's how painful it is. And so a little bit of compassion. No, a lot of compassion. But also, you don't have to wait around for people. So if a person that you like or that is in your oversoul does not know how to be their grown-up version because they project their trauma attachment wounds, you don't need to be an asshole about it. You will know how to be, okay, cool, nice knowing you. Or no, it's you're a shit, fuck you, because we're all imperfect and flawed. That's the whole point. 5D mystics or functional adults, we don't do drama. We're in relationships. Everybody's different. That's it. But don't talk to me about fire when you don't know what fire is. However, we won't be like, don't talk to me about fire because you're not. We'll be like, I'll remember. The right silence, it's used so that we may do the right thing, which is leave people to their own expansion of consciousness journey. They can move into the 3-year-old whole heart if they want. Be loving, compassionate, and kind because we don't walk in other people's shoes. Tune in for more. Have a great day.